Hey, what's going on, everybody? It's your guy Realistic, and I'm doing another tutorial for SoundOracle.net. And in this video, we're going to show you how slap delays can be used to make your lead vocal sound wider and fuller in the mix. But first, before we get into that, if you're not already, be sure to subscribe to our YouTube channel. That way you can stay up to date with our latest videos and tutorials. And also, Oracle and I have a new online mixing course called The Art of Beat Mixing. It's filled with hours worth of content, every process and every technique that you need to know to be able to mix and master your beats professionally. And there's also a bunch of PDF guides to follow along as well. So I'll put the link in the description below if you want to join that course. All right, so now we're going to get into slap delays and how we can use them in our mix. Now, I think that they can be really useful. Some people will use them to even replace a reverb instead, because what it can do is it can kind of give you a little bit more thickness and wideness, but still kind of give you that depth that a reverb will do, but not so wet and washy in the background. And so what a slap delay is going to do is it's going to be a really fast delay. So it's not going to be a delay like we normally use them, where it's meant to sound like a repeat or echo kind of trailing off in the background. We want this to be a lot faster, to almost where it's going to sound like a double. It's going to sound like a dub instead. So we got this track here, and let's give it a listen. Right now we got a little bit of reverb on it, and so we'll hear how this sounds.
I wanna wear you like a story, breathe you in every morning.
Okay, so we could definitely do some things to kind of widen that out a little bit here. So what I like to do is I like to put my slap delay on as a send rather than an insert. And the reason why I like to do that is because as we increase the wet dry knob on our slap delay here, we can start to thin out the lead vocal, or we can start to throw the timing off, especially because we're dealing with the delay here. So what I like to do is I like to have my lead vocal, and then I like to slowly blend it in as a send. Okay, so now what we'll do here is we'll throw on a delay. You can throw on your favorite delay plugin. For me, that's Echo Boy by SoundToys, but you could use any delay. You could use a stock delay, whatever delay that you want to use, go for that. All right, and since we're doing this as a send, we want to put our mix knob at 100% wet, right? Okay, so now with our slap delay, it's all coming down to where we're going to have this note value or the time value, right? And so slap delays are going to be usually between 50 to 80 milliseconds, depending on your tempo usually, but it's somewhere around that pocket. So we could bring this down here to a 30-second note, right? And some people will have it to where it's, kind of not exactly on time, or with the BPM of the track, and they'll kind of move this to be a little bit different. And if that's what your preference is, if you like a more loose feel like that, that's not spot on with the beat, go for it, do that. But for me, I like mine to be on time with the actual beat. So what I'm going to do is, for the sake of the tutorial, I'm actually just going to set this to a 30-second note. Now, a 64th note could work too, but that's going to give you more of a chorus effect, and those sound really cool too. So if you're going for a chorus effect rather than a slap delay, you can do that too, and those are usually going to be between 20 and 50 milliseconds for your chorus effects, somewhere around there. Those will give you a tighter feel. The slap delay is going to give you a little bit looser feel, so slap delays will give you a little bit wider of a sound. So let's go back, because this is a slap delay tutorial. Let's go back to our slap delay. All right, and now let's give this a listen, right? Because you could end here. We're going to do a little bit more, but if you wanted, you could end it right here.
I wanna wear you like a story, breathe you in every.
And that could be your sound right there, and then just kind of blend it in.
I wanna wear you like a story.
And then without it.
I wanna wear you like a.
And with it.
I wanna wear you like a story.
So just kind of thickens it up a little bit, right? Kind of even makes it up here wider. But for me, there's another step that I like to do here. And what I like to do is I like to do a dual echo, right? And so what we can do now is we can delay the left ear differently than we delay the right ear. Now, if your echo does not have the ability to do a dual echo, what you could do is, instead of a multi-channel plugin, you could create a multiple mono plugin, and so then we'll put a delay plugin on this, and this works for any plugin. It could be an EQ or auto tune or whatever. You'll have the ability to do multi-channel or multiple mono. Now, multiple mono will give you the ability here to unlink the left and right channels, right? So if we hit that unlink here, we could set one side here on our left channel, right? And then what we can do is we can control our right channel differently, and we can control all the parameters differently. So watch when I pop back, pay attention to these. Watch when I pop back to left. See how those all change? So that's how you could do a dual echo, just in case your echo does not have a dual echo. This echo does, so we'll just set this to a dual echo. And what I like to do is I like to shift the timing by a couple milliseconds rather than a whole note value. Because let's say we did a 30-second note on one side and a 16th note on the other side, that's going to start to get a little too loose, and then it's almost going to sound too obvious that there's a delay going on.
I wanna wear you like a story, breathe you in.
Right, and that could be a cool effect, and if you wanna use that effect, that could work too, but again, we're focusing on slap delays on this one, so let's go back to creating more of this slap delay effect, and what I like to do here is I like to keep the timing of the left channel locked in with the beat. I like to keep that exactly a perfect 30-second note, and then what I like to do on the other channel is I like to shift it somewhere between 10 to 20 milliseconds. You could go up to 30. Once you start going past that, you start to get a little too loose because now you're going to get closer to a 16th note on the other end. Now you could go up or down. So we'll start by going up here, and I'm just going to shift it by 10 milliseconds. So we have a perfect 30-second note, and then this ear right here is going to be slightly delayed by an additional 10 milliseconds. So it's just going to be slightly off, and because of that, this is going to enter our ears sooner, and this is going to enter our ears later. And so now it's going to appear wider because things are it's tricking our brain because it's entering our ears at separate times. So let's check that out.
I wanna wear you like a story.
Versus how a single echo sounds.
I wanna wear you like a story.
And let's go back to dual.
I wanna wear you like a story.
Right? And so that kind of makes it appear a little bit wider because we got something shifted a little different. I'll show you if we were to go a little bit more intense here and do 20 milliseconds differently, it's going to just loosen it up a little bit.
I wanna wear you like a story. Breathe you in every morning.
Right? And that kind of almost makes it feel like there's some dubs going on. And then, of course, we could go the opposite direction too if we wanted. We could go down instead of up. Now, that's going to tighten it up a little bit, and we're going to get a little bit closer to, we're going to start getting into chorus effect territory.
I wanna wear you like a story.
But that does give that a pretty nice thick tone there. But for this, what I'll do here is I'm going to go up 10 milliseconds. So we'll go back to that.
I wanna wear you like a story.
Okay, and so for that effect, you could just end the effect right here, and that could blend in perfectly in your mix and sound really cool. Or there's a couple little things that I like to do added to it, and I'll show you that. And so the first thing that I like to do is I like to increase the feedback a little bit. If we keep our feedback at 0, it's just going to repeat these delays one time. But the more we increase this, the more that it's going to repeat, right? It's going to repeat multiple times as our echo's happening. So I like to bring this up here about 15%, somewhere around there, right? Just to give it a few. I don't want to go too crazy where there's a bunch of delays and echoes going on there. And so I like to do that. So I'll show you this.
I wanna wear you like a story.
And then without it,
I wanna wear you like a story.
and then with it.
I wanna wear you like a story.
Just to me, it gives it a little bit more wideness to it. Okay, and then the other thing that I like to do is I actually like to filter the slap delay a little bit here. I like to roll off some of the lows and roll off some of the highs, and they'll kind of push the slap delay back a little bit, and they'll also let the lead vocal here kind of dominate that higher range too, since we're rolling off some of those high frequencies.
I wanna wear you like a story.
And then without the filters,
I wanna wear you like a story.
and we'll put the filters back in.
I wanna wear you like a story.
Okay, Now, again, we could just end there, or if we wanted, we could add a couple little more things. And I usually do. What I like to do is I like to increase the saturation a little bit. If your Echo plugin doesn't have any saturation, no worries there at all. Just throw a little saturation afterwards, But I just like to do just a little bit of saturation, just increase it by like 15 or 20% there. And then sometimes I like to clip the input a little bit here just to kind of give it a little soft clipping. I'll turn down the output a little bit here just again to kind of give the slap delay almost like a little analog tape feel, if you will, even though we're artificially doing this and this isn't actually analog.
I wanna wear you like a story, breathe you in every.
Okay, so now let's hear it in the mix here and kind of blend that in here. If we're kind of going for more of a distant feel, we could bring this down by like 10.
I wanna wear you like a story.
And if we want to, kind of actually get a little bit more obvious that slap delay is going on here, we'll probably, go closer to -5.
I wanna wear you like a story, breathe you in every moment.
And if we're going for like a full out 80s sound or something like that, we'll probably, even go past 0 here.
I wanna wear you like a story.
And let me turn this reverb off here so you can hear how the slap delay sounds just as the slap delay.
I wanna wear you like a story, breathe you in every morning.
And that could kind of give you that kind of retro throwback 80s sound. So it all just depends on what you're going for. Blend this into your taste and what your ears are telling you. For this track, I kind of like this a little bit further down, maybe -7 or somewhere around there. Let's listen to this.
I wanna wear you like a story.
Maybe bring it up actually -5 now that I'm hearing it.
I wanna wear you like a story.
And then without it,
I wanna wear you like a story.
with it.
I wanna wear you like a.
See how that's making that sound wider and fuller, even thickens the vocal up a little bit. And also, too, it can work as a good way to replace the reverb. If you don't want the reverb, you don't want that washy sound, you could use this. It will still give you some depth and wideness that reverb would give you, but without all the washiness that goes with it. But now some options that we could also do, speaking of reverb, we could keep it muted, or we could blend in a little bit of reverb as well.
I wanna wear you like a story, breathe you.
So let's listen to that in the mix.
I wanna wear you like a story, breathe you in.
And then without it.
I wanna wear you like a story.
And then with it.
I wanna wear you like a story.
So for my taste, I like the reverb and the slap delay blended together. Now, another option that you could do is instead of putting the reverb on the actual verse vocal here, what we could do is we could put this on the slap delay aux send here. And now what we're doing is we're just adding reverb to the slap delay effect here. So let's listen to that.
I wanna wear you like a story, breathe you in every morning.
And let's listen to it in the mix.
I wanna wear you like a story, breathe you in every morning.
And then mute it.
I wanna wear you like a story, breathe you in.
And then with it.
I wanna wear you like a story, breathe you in.
So again, it always goes back to what your taste or your preference is. For my taste and preference, I think I want to put the reverb on the actual lead vocal and blend in the slap delay a little bit. But yeah, that's how you do slap delays. It's a pretty cool way to add a little bit of wideness and fullness to your vocals. I don't use this on every single track. It all depends on when it calls for it. So don't feel like just because I did it in this video that you have to do this on every single song or every single vocal mix that you do. It's just another tool to be able to have in your bag when it calls for it. And like I said before, if you haven't already, be sure to subscribe to our channel. That way you can stay up to date on videos just like this. And if you found this video helpful, be sure to hit that like button. I know it sounds crazy, but it really does help to grow the channel and make the channel improve. Hey, thanks for watching. Be sure to subscribe to our channel right here so you can catch the latest tutorials on mixing, mastering, and production. And you can check out some of our suggested videos here, and here. And of course, if you're looking for premium loops and samples, you can find that at SoundOracle.net. We got plenty to choose from.